All right, now I'm going to show you how you can change different things about Frida in these. But this is the point where I'm going to remind you, you need to pay attention to the time and make sure you save and that you upload it into your Google Drive and download it from your Google Drive when you need to work on it. And one of the reasons you want to save a lot is because if you totally hate what you do, you can always come back to this revert right here. This revert will go back to the last saved, okay? So you don't have to do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, all of that. You can just hit revert and it'll go back to the last saved. So with having all these layers, to isolate one, if you just look at what this layer is, I'm going to turn off these other layers for a minute. Oh, there we go. I have more there. So clicking those eyes, if you remember correctly, will turn off the layers. I want to select just this Frida. So I'm coming over here to my selection tools and I'm going to click in this area. And what I want is I want the magic wand tool. Earlier, to select Frida from her background, we did the quick selection tool. Here, I want the magic wand tool. And every person should have a magic wand tool. I'm going to click in the background. And you'll see that the marching ants go all the way around except for the image. It's selecting all that transparency. So if you remember, I can come up here to select and then inverse. And now I have just Frida selected. So when you have everything showing, all the layers showing, you may get confused on why the marching ants are going around everything. It's because of what's happening on the layer. It's talking about the entire layer. So right now, this Frida is the one that's selected. So let's have some fun and mess around with it, okay? So one of the things that we can do, I'm going to show you 4 different ways on each one of them. You can mess around with it. If you want to revert and do it all the same way, you can. But go ahead and practice these. So the first one is image, and we're going to come down to adjustments. Once we get to adjustments, we're going to go to gradient map. So that was image, adjustments, gradient map. And already it changed. And it changed from this red to this white because of what is already selected in here. It just took what we had here and applied it this way. So what, if you're not happy with that, what we can do is, you see that down delta right there? It's kind of hard to see. We can click that. And here are some pre-made gradients. So when it has the checks there, that means that's transparent and the background will show through. Or you can do something like that. And you click on these and see which ones that you like. Ooh, you know, that's kind of weird, but that's kind of nice. So click and you can decide. It's kind of nice turning it black and white. So after, you know, I kind of like that one, but not on that background. You can mess with these a little bit too. So, lordy. I'm going to leave it on that one. All right. So you notice preview is selected. That way we get to see what it's doing. Click there. All right. So that's one way to do. So that was image. Image adjustments, and then we went to gradient map, and then we changed that. And that actually really does look neat. I just might change the background color on that one. So let's select another one. So I want to do, let's do this image down here, this bottom left one. So I need to make sure I am on that layer. So I'm going to select that layer. So now that I've selected that layer, I'm going to click in the background here, and it's going to look like I'm clicking on one of the other images. But remember, we're only working on this layer. So I can click in the background. It's going to select all of that area except for the image. I'm going to come up here to select, inverse. Okay, so what can we do with this one? Again, we're going to go up to Image, and we're going to go to Adjustment, but instead of going to Gradient Map, we're going to go to Hue and Saturation. So there's a lot of different options in this one. If you click up here where it says Default, there are all kinds of different, I could tell it to be a sepia tone, which is an old type of photograph. I could tell it to be old style. I could tell it to be a cyanotype. You know, so there's different ones built in, but I'm going to put it back on default. And I'm just going to sit here and kind of mess with the hue. Saturation is how much it's going through. See how the color's getting brighter? Hue is color and how it's affecting it. Brightness will kind of wash it out. Darkness will darken it out. Just depends on what you do. I don't usually mess with that one too terribly much. So you sort of sit here and adjust it. And I kind of like this green cast to it, the blue-green cast to it. I think that's looking really neat. So you play with it. You can mess with things. You can tweak your colors. You can play with it. If you click here, this is where you can adjust individual colors, but I wouldn't mess with that right now. The master is all of those put together, and so I would just kind of leave it at that. And then when you're ready, tell it OK. And then we're going to Control D to deselect. Let's go up here to this one in the purple background. I'm going to, oops, see, I didn't switch my layers, did I? So I selected that same one again. So let's go make sure I'm on the right layer. Boy, I probably should have had y'all name these layers, huh? All right. So I Control D to deselect, and I'm going to click there. And again, that's going to select everything but that image. Select Inverse, and now I just have that image. So again, guess what? We're going back to Image. We're going to Adjustments, and we've done Gradient Map. We've done Hue and Saturation. Let's play with Posterize. When we play with Posterize, do you see how it's kind of, what it does is it drops out to be 4 pixels. If we put in more, it looks more like a photograph, but I like it usually in the lower end there. And we can combine some of these filters. So we did that one. Let's see. Maybe I want to go to Hue and Saturation now and mess with it that way. I really like the way that line's hitting on her face right there. I think that's neat. So you can go to some of those other ones, mess with it. If you wanted to, you could also add a gradation to it. So that's Adjustment, and you could do Gradient Map, and it's going to put that gradient map on top of it. And I don't like it, but you can start combining these, okay? So now we have this last one to do. So that would be this one right here. I need to get my magic wand tool. This is still selected, so I need to hit Control D to deselect. I'm going to click the background. Again, it's doing everything but Frida. If I come up here to Select and hit Inverse, I now have Frida. Okay, this time instead of going to Image, we're going to go to Filters. And we have this thing called Filter Gallery. And it does a lot of this stuff here. So when we have Filter Gallery, it lets us see what's going to happen. So you can, if you paint it with a palette knife, poster edges, sponge. You could do it as a relief, chrome. Oh, wow. Graphic pen. So, ooh, that's kind of neat. I kind of like that one. So which one is that one? Is that Conte Crayon? No. Chrome. Photocopy. Water paper. Torn edges. So you can sit here, halftone pattern. You can sit here and mess around with them. The glass, like it's through filtered glass, ocean ripple, different brush strokes. Ooh, I actually like what's going on right here. So I'm going to keep this one. So you obviously can sit here and play around with it, and you find what you like. So there's different things that are going on in here. You can even get into texture, stylized glowing edges. Here, you have to see this one. It does like that. Is really neat. So you kind of decide what you like, and you pick what you're going to do. So pause and play around with it, and then I'll show you how to add more embellishments to the images once you have them. So again, be sure and save as you're doing this, and so that you can always revert back to it. And in the next video, I'll show you how to add some custom details to it.